missed you all.
It's good to see you back.
It's good to be back.
Well, we have a lot of stuff going on tonight. We've got callers calling in. Actually, most of our guests tonight are calling in. But we've got Miss Linda Pugh here. She wants to make an announcement.
Yes, I have 103 letters on dental. There is no way that I can answer those immediately. I have answered over 50. I'm still working on it. But the first thing that you need to do is to write an I-60 to go into medical for dental. Make sure you have a medical reason, such as bleeding gums, trouble chewing, choking, any number of things, but you have to be medically necessary in order to get partials, dentures, fillings, and all the things that a normal dentist would do for you. On the Bachman versus Garcia, Harris County Jail, if what I have been told is true, they don't have to go by the judge's ruling. Within the last 24 hours, they have refused to fill a tooth for an inmate, and they pulled his tooth because they said he didn't have the money to call in a private dentist to do his work for him. And I also wanted to tell you that go ahead and write that I-60 and follow it up if you get an unfavorable response, and notify me at 1508 North Broadway, Poto, and that's P-O-T-E-A-U, Oklahoma, 74953. I have had requests for that address, so I'll repeat it. 1508 North Broadway, Poto, P-O-T-E-A-U, Oklahoma, 74953.
I want to make clear, this is not Pat. This is Linda Pugh. Two completely different people, two completely different issues. But she's got a letter that says Linda Pat Pugh. So this is for Linda Pugh and the Inmate Assistance League. Pat's an entirely different deal. She does death row stuff.
Yes. My middle name is not Pat. I have a letter here.
And she doesn't go by it in any way. So
No,
just to clear that up.
Mark Bilbrey. And so that will clear up any of your confusion that you might have.
Okay, and now there's another piece of confusion we need to straighten up, and that is that the Texas Corrections Oversight Commission is not part of the prison show, and they haven't participated in some time. But I can tell you, their address for Texas Corrections Oversight Committee is 1428 23rd Avenue North, Suite 2, Galveston, Texas, 77570. Again, Texas Corrections Oversight Committee, 1428 23rd Avenue North, Suite 2, Galveston, Texas, 77550. Meanwhile, we've got a kind of jam-packed show tonight, so I think we ought to get after our first guest here. You want to?
All right. Well, thank you for your update, Linda.
Yeah, could I tell you one more thing?
Quickly.
It quickly confuses me.
That's all radio has time for.
Yeah,
so.
right. But go ahead and fill out those I-60s and get them sent in. And I've given you the address, and that's all I can think of right now. There's one other point, maybe Hank will bring it up later in the show, because I can't think of what it is.
Okay.
Oh, no, you have to fill out the ROI, the release of information. That's very important, and very important that you write the grievances.
People cannot help you without the ROI. If it's a medical issue of any type, you've got to have that for the people that you want to help you.
That's right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Linda.
Will you give that to David?
Okay, and joining us next, right, we're going to go into Jennifer,
Yeah,
is that right?
I'm ready.
All right, joining us next is going to be Jennifer Erschabek, and she is with the Texas Inmate Family Association, so let's go ahead and pull her up. Jennifer?
Hello, how are are you doing?
Hello, we're
I
doing well.
leave it
How
on
are
the
you?
back.
Oh,
And it falls
busy,
off.
crazy, working hard, staying cool here in Austin.
Well, it keeps you out of trouble, so.
Well, it doesn't keep me out of trouble, but you know. But anyway, shout out to all my friends down there in the Houston area, in Huntsville, and down in Rose Sharon. Be going to visit Ramsey, who's the Veterans Group, 1st of August. Congratulations to the PAC unit with the heat lawsuit. I'll talk about that in a little bit. It's congratulations to the entire system, but it's always nice to have a victory.
It's a first step.
Yes, we love first steps because that means we're making progress. So I'll get to the good stuff and let me get the news out of the way. Our next Roll Packet Workshop is in Nacogdoches. It's August 18th from 10 to 2, and that will probably be our last workshop this year. We're going to be doing some webinars on parole, but this will be our last workshop. So if you need your family to attend one, you can go to registration on our website at tifa.org. Also, we have 2 brand new chapters, one in San Angelo and one in New Braunfels. San Angelo has already had 2 meetings, and they'll be having another one in August, and New Braunfels is busy finding a place to meet and setting up their meeting date. We here at TIFA are sorry to say we've lost Lauren Johnson. Congratulations to her. She's going to the ACLU. So we're just really excited for her and excited at TIFA because that'll strengthen our relationship with the ACLU. Last Wednesday, we gave a webinar on prison grievances, seeking justice and fairness behind prison walls with Dr. Terry LeClerc. That went over real well. We're wanting to do more webinars because we've got so many members who live so many different places, and even in Europe, in Australia, and New Zealand. So this is our attempt to reach out to them and help them. Terry will be visiting our chapters and giving presentations on grievances. Part of our effort in the next 2 years before the next session will be to improve people writing grievances. I know a lot of people have given up on the system, but what we want to do is try to educate the families and then encourage the men and women inside. If you have a legitimate issue, to write a grievance, because that's the only way we can document the issues in TDCJ. And along with that, the Corrections Committee, Representative White, will be looking for reports about grievances that are written and also phone calls made to the Ombudsman, and I'll get into that in a minute. I visited with Okay, I've got 5 more minutes. I'm timing myself. I visited with Deputy Director Mendoza, Oscar Mendoza, a week and a half ago. I went to the Texas Reentry Statewide Task Force. TIFA is on that. And I met with Mr. Mendoza for an hour prior to that meeting. My interest in not only building our relationship and opening up that line of communication, but I wanted to discuss with him the retirement of Madeline Ortiz, the Division Director for the Rehabilitation Division. Education has always been an important issue for me, and I wanted to let him know that we were really looking forward to him finding somebody who was really forward-thinking and innovative and would expand programming and educational opportunities for the men and women in TDCJ. Because we know the spotlight is on rehabilitation right now, and what a great opportunity to find new and great ways to help guys get an education, prepare themselves for the workforce to get out there and come back home to their communities. We talked a lot about expanding college programs, we have the Pell Grant. We know there's waiting lists. We still get the questions about tablets. We talked about tablets. He knows TDCJ has to move, forward and keep up with what's going on the outside, and that includes, electronics and computers. And I also stress the need for computer access, for not internet access, but computer access for them to do classes and possibly correspondence courses also.
Jennifer, can I ask you a question about the computers and internet? Can you tell us something about the Supreme Court decision and the relationship with the use of internet by everybody? Are you informed about it?
Are you talking the one that just came out recently about sex offenders having access to computers?
Yes.
That's out of left field, but I'll give you a minute what I know. I don't know a lot because a lot of these I'll read the first paragraph and last paragraph and get the gist of it. But the decision I read was something along the lines that internet access is just like the streets and roads in our neighborhood. It's something you can't deny people, but of course there's certain areas of it that you wouldn't want them visiting. So that's kind of what I got from it, that yes, they should have some access, but it should be limited. So we can't deny them that opportunity to access the internet.
Thank you.
I don't know if that is the correct interpretation. I just saw it today, and I've been busy with other things. So that's my quick overview on that. So after that, I visited with Representative James White, who's chair of the Corrections Committee, this week, and we discussed a lot of things. I mean, we were there a couple of hours. Lauren went with me, and we talked about independent oversight, and of course, my big flag, my big banner, which is parole reform. We talked about how independent oversight was basically reduced to a report, and then of course that didn't even go anywhere because of what happened on the House floor. But what it had been reduced to, because we had visited Johnson's office about 3 weeks earlier, was just a report of grievances from the Ombudsman's office. And so we had a big, long discussion about all the information that's already being reported and why couldn't that be summarized in a report to, his office and to the legislators. So I talked about some of the issues that our Tifa members were bringing to me and some of the issues we're having in some of the units. And we had a good, fruitful discussion about it. So I'm real excited about that, and I'll be circling back around during this special session to talk to him again. We talked a little bit about parole reform and what we could do in the interim. He's still getting calls about 2120, so, that's still a hot topic. And he laughed when I told him that was my main objective, was to get everybody organized and calling. So, but what we wanted to talk about was what we can do in the interim. And some of that, the issues that popped up, we're talking about systemic disparities between counties, transparency, nature of the crime, offering victims and crime survivors another way to seek justice instead of protest by district attorneys and prosecutors. And so those were some of the things that we addressed. And quickly, the last thing to talk about is, as we were getting ready, Terry and I were getting ready to do the webinar on Wednesday, the verdict on the heat decision came out, and basically there are 5 points to that, and one was that they had to come up with a plan within 2 weeks. And within that, TDCJ has to correct the respite program, giving men in the PAC unit about 500 access to respite areas, lower the temperature in the housing areas of heat-sensitive individuals, install window screens to block bugs, develop a heat wave policy, and have a plan, and like I said earlier, have a plan to do all of this within 15 days. And of course, TDCJ is going to appeal. One of the things that has been offered up is the possibility of using undercapacity county jails in the county. Some of the problems we see with this, and this is just a quick glance, is number one, my problem with county jails is the level of care and programming. You know, a lot of people are relieved when they go from county to TDCJ just because you have more available to you.
Right.
And then also utilizing private contract facilities and losing the progress that we've made with reducing the number of beds in TDCJ. I don't want to use this as a way to expand again under private contracts to make then these other beds, empty hot beds, available for younger, healthier people as they come into the system. So those are some of my concerns with that issue. So,
well, thank you so much for. Yeah, you're just a little over, but we can live with
You
it.
did fantastic,
Yeah.
Jennifer. Thank you so much.
That's all right.
can I give my address?
Please do.
Okay, P.O. Box 300220, Austin 78703. So that's P.O. Box 300220, zip code 78703. I'm in Austin. Thanks, guys. We love you.
All right,
Keep it
Jennifer.
up.
You too.
We're here
Thank you
for
so
you.
much for calling.
Have a great weekend.
All right, now joining us up next is going to be Doug Smith and Alison Brock, and they are with the Texas Criminal Justice Coalition.
Do we have both of you?
I'm here. Can you hear me all right?
We're here.
Oh, we
okay.
can hear you
Gotcha.
fine.
Gotcha. All right,
Great.
good work
Well,
getting your
so-
end together.
So what do you guys
So
got for
good
us
to
today?
Be on the show again.
It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you. I don't know. I am so lucky to get to work with Alison Brock. I was talking to her before the show, and she said it's been a number of years since she called into the show. And so I hope you don't mind if I just do a quick introduction. I know that we've got a little bit of a legislative update for y'all, but I'd just love to introduce Alison to a lot of people listening. When I started at Texas Criminal Justice Coalition about 2 years ago, I was working the 2015 session, and one of the bills that I was working on would have made it more difficult to hold someone in county jail on a parole violation. So, you know, a lot of times people, parole will hold someone in county jail, even on the low-level violation, while they wait for the board to decide what they want to do to the person. And more often than not, on the minor stuff, they would just modify the conditions of parole. But in the meantime, the person would lose their housing and their job because they're sitting in county jail. And, you know, we worked really hard on that bill, and that bill was authored by Representative Sylvester Turner, and Alison Brock was working for him at that time. We kind of got into the Senate, and the bill, we were informed, was dead. It wasn't going to move anywhere. There was a member in the Senate who just did not want to see that bill move, and therefore the Lieutenant Governor wasn't going to allow it to be heard. And we were told to pretty much give up on the bill, and but that was before I really knew Alison Brock. And so we, next thing I know, Alison Brock is making all sorts of calls and working her magic. And we were sitting with the governor's office staff, and that bill had life again, and that bill is now law. It's real hard to hold. So if someone's on a low-level violation, they want you to keep your job and keep your housing, and largely due to Alison Brock. But Alison has been doing some other stuff since Representative Turner moved on to become the mayor of Houston. And so real quick, Alison, I'd love for you to just share what you've been doing since last session and what brought you back to criminal justice reform.
Actually, thank you, Doug, very much for that intro. That's very kind of you. And I also want to say, Doug, I think is probably one of the hardest working folks at the Capitol. When I met Doug, I remember him coming into the office, and he had been to every single member's office on the House side. And I think one of the things to recognize about legislative advocacy is it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of energy and a lot of focus. And it takes people that are really, really committed, like Doug, to move things forward. So essentially, yeah, I've worked for State Rep Turner for a number of years. He ran for mayor, got elected. I went down to join him as mayor, as his chief of staff, which was a wonderful experience, very eye-opening, and also a really good opportunity for me to see how things operate at the local level. One of the things that really hit me hard when I was in Houston is the needs that people have when they are released from state jail, from TCJ, from the county jail. The needs are high, and I think that it's going to take a lot of effort, a coordinated effort and focus and passion to evolve the system so that we're meeting people properly when they're released, and getting them quickly connected into services that meet their needs. So that was a fantastic experience. I know that Houston is dealing with are struggling with some issues with homelessness, and as an organization, we are taking a look at that in terms of how people, when they leave the criminal justice system, is the last end of the criminal justice system homelessness? Is that the reality that we're dealing with right now? So we want to make some corrections in that. I had an opportunity to kind of dig further into criminal justice with picking up a role here at the Texas Criminal Justice Coalition in Austin. I seized that opportunity, came back to Austin, was fortunate enough to be able to work with Doug in the last couple of months of session, talking to members about moving things positively forward in the system. And I think that is much needed. One of the things I want to stress with everyone, and for everybody out there, I also want to give a special shout out to the Veterans Program at the Ramsey Unit. I was out there and visited with you all a few years ago. That was awesome. And I do want to stress this one thing, that sometimes, I have thought about this over the years, that sometimes we have to take baby steps in the legislative process. I know people really wanted 2120 to pass, and I know there's a lot of people passionate about that. I think it's something that we can never give up hope on anything that can advance the system, but we also have to recognize that it takes a lot of committed effort, and it takes Doug Smith going to every member of the House and Senate several times in a week, putting holes in his shoes, giving a story, sharing a story, and sharing how we can move things forward. So that's really, really what I stress, what I want to stress most importantly, which is you have to have a grit about reform and about positive change. You have to have a perseverance such like for the rest of your life, you're going to work on these issues. I see so many people at the Capitol who they come for a session, they don't get what they want, and they get frustrated and they leave, and they never come back. And you wonder, what if they had just stayed a few more years and stayed committed? And sometimes you see that happen. So that's really my message. I know we don't have a lot of time. I'll turn it back over to Doug.
Do we have time for just a quick update on some of the things coming up?
Definitely. Yeah, 3 minutes.
Great. So, we could kind of go through some of the bills that did pass, but I think it's really important to take a look at the future. We're gonna continue to work with Tifa on the work time credit bill. The travel restriction bill, that was a good victory. To make it so that people on the registry can get to and from work. That's fantastic. That was a real victory of Texas Voices, but it came with some residency restrictions in small cities that Allison worked like crazy to try to defeat, and that was tacked onto the bill. Fortunately, that also opened up the conversation about why is it that we don't have a way to get people off of the register. possibility that we can have an interim committee and start answering some of those questions. We did, there was some success for prisons are closed, and we are, that was a lot of the success of the last many years, largely due to Representative Turner's office and a lot of other members who really care deeply about it. So that brings our total to about 8 prisons closed. And what we know about how we're going to keep that, keep reform going forward, we know that there's 3 things we've got to do. We've got to, how you're going to bring down the prison population. We've got to make it harder for people to send probation violators into prison on mere technical violations. We've got to revise our drug laws so that low-level possession isn't such a high felony offense, and we've got to look at the length of sentence. And we've got a super long length of sentence in Texas, and the world is just shocked at how many years judges hand out. 19 years is the average length of sentence in Texas, and I think that was one of the things that we, working with Tifa, we're trying to address with the work time credit bill, so we cannot stop. And I can just tell you that Alice and I are just going to continue to work throughout the interim, working with the interim committees, working with the members to try to get some, to continue to get some things passed. We were traveling the state yesterday visiting model programs for reentry because we want to make sure that when people are released, that they're not released to nothing. They're released to a community looking forward to having them back. And knowing that when they come back, they've got some grit and some resilience and ready to rejoin the community.
We're running out of time. How can people get a hold of you?
Okay, so they can contact us, Alison Brock, Doug Smith, or just anyone at Texas Criminal Justice Coalition, 1714 Fortview Road. That's Fortview Road, Suite 104.
Where are you calling from,
Austin, Texas, 78704.
And what unit are you going to?
78704.
That's it.
Okay.
All right,
okay,
Doug
I'm
and
going to put you on
Allison,
hold.
thank you so much for joining us today.
So glad to be on.
All right.
We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay.
All right.
Now we have a special guest in our studio today.
Yeah.
Of course. We have Mr. Danny Sneed.
And Danny is always here to talk about veterans issues.
That is absolutely right.
Danny the Encourager, they call him.
Yeah. And I use that moniker because after serving 15 years in prison, you know, I had to find a way to
Speak directly.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you were telling me, I always say I talk too loud. Now you said I need to talk a little louder.
No, you're doing great.
Okay. So let me set it up like this. I am involved with the prison show because I myself have been a part of the prison system. I served 15 years in the Texas prison system, but I successfully completed 26 years of supervised parole. And just last year, I voted in my first presidential election.
First in your life?
In my life.
Congratulations.
Amen.
I'm not going to tell you who I voted for.
Well, I don't need to know.
No, I don't
need to know.
I can't tell y'all. Can I please tell you? SSI. You know what? Every year, 500,000 people are released from state and federal prisons. In Houston, Texas, that number is 15,000 annual. Did you know that?
1 year.
In 1 year, 15,000 people are released from prison.
Right back to Harris County, or Houston, Texas.
Right. And they get out at the Greyhound bus station at 2 o'clock, 5 days a week. And many of these people that get out are coming home to the same circumstances that foster an environment that led gentlemen into prison, into the criminal justice system. But many of these are our veterans, and that's who I'm here to talk about, is our veterans. And I served in the United States Army from 1982 to 1988. But little did I know that when I got out of the military, that I was going to face some struggles. It wasn't the same. You know what? I want to make this comparison. Getting out of the military is almost like people getting out of prison. Mm-hmm. And you find some of us, why you find so many veterans in prison is because we find ourselves facing some of the same stresses when we get out. And it's because what our expectations were. We felt like when we get out with an honorable discharge, that this country would honor that. And when you went to apply for a job, not that we feel like we deserve to go to the front of the line, but we feel like, hey, man, hire a vet. We're disciplined, man. We're going to show up every day. I'm a good hire. But when I got out, I applied for all the top jobs that you would think you could get. Got turned down. It depressed me. And so with that depression, I medicated it. And with that medication that they didn't sell at the I didn't go to the doctor. I went to the local street doctor, and that just didn't work out. So so when I found myself in prison, I found myself around a lot of veterans in prison, and our stories was the same. And we would tell all the highlights of our experience was in, because I was in the Army and I traveled overseas, and we was asking ourselves, how did we end back up in prison? How did this work out to where we didn't go on and have a successful life like we did in the civilian, in the military? I believe that the structure of the military was kind of like the structure of my home and school. School is a structure. Your mama is a structure, the principal, the teachers. So when you join the military, you got drill sergeants. They pretty much are, you pretty much are under control of them. When you get up, when you everything you do. And so when you leave the military, you don't have your mama anymore.
Right.
It don't matter how old you are. It has nothing to do with age. It's just the fact that you've been in a structured environment. And now when you get out of the military, you have to create your own structure. Let's go to prison. Prison is very structured. Did you know prison is designed for 13-year-olds? Most of the rules and regulations in prison are for adolescents. They make you sit down in the day room. You can't walk, stand on the side of the line. You go get your food. It's time. You're through eating. Put your tray up. So they tell you when to go to bed. They tell you when it's time to get up.
And you don't have to go to sleep, but the lights are going out.
It's shower time,
Yeah.
like a child.
Exactly.
Johnny, go take a bath. And this is the crazy thing about prison. They only give you one set of clothes. So you're forced to go to them for like another set of underwear. You got to go to somebody to get another.
Like another set of parents.
But I'm here to talk about the veterans. And here in Houston, sadly for many of the men and women who have served our country in the armed forces, homeless is a way of life. Every night, more than 4,000 veterans who have served our country with honor and dedication sleep on the streets. 1 of every 7 homeless Houstonians is a veteran. But I have good news for our veterans returning back to Houston. We have a homeless, they have a new program. This is really not a new program, but a revised program. It's called Housing First. So if you're paroling back to Houston, Texas, and you're a veteran, the first thing I want you to do is head to the VA. If you're homeless, they have a program that guarantees they will house you. It's housing first. It's not like we'll do it tomorrow, fill out this paperwork. If you're a veteran, they're going to house you. And they're going to house you until they can permanently house you. So you may go into a temporary housing situation, but they're going to find permanent housing for you. And we gotta push up our society for saying that no veteran should sleep on the street. And so veterans that are down there, when you get out and you're having medical problems, the VA is going to take care of you. They're going to meet not only your medical needs, your psychological needs. If you're paroling here to Houston, I want you to be encouraged from the encourager. There are a lot of programs here that help veterans. There's a Goodwill down on San Jacinto. It's saying Goodwill for veterans only.
Corner Elgin and San Jacinto.
Elgin and San Jacinto. So don't let anybody tell you that when you get out that there's no help for veterans. It's the one thing I can push Houston, Texas up for is they do help our veterans here in Houston. again, when I got out in 2008, I was homeless. But I went to the VA. I used the resources. They put me in the SRR, was a single room occupancy, down in a place called the George, down there.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful facility. And it was right across the street from Minute Maid. So here I am, you know, I spent all this time in prison. I get out, and then they said they gave me a room. In this SR room, when I went into it, it had a microwave, it had a refrigerator, and this is what made me cry. On the bed, they had like a roll of toilet paper, a pillow, and this was mine for as long as I needed. And this is a person getting out with a felony. When I thought that society had just given up on me, if you are a veteran and you serve at least 2 years in the military, any branch, all those eligibility things are there waiting for you. Again, I want to talk about something that that many veterans, and that this is an acronym, and you heard this acronym before. It's called PTSD. PTSD. What this is a disorder that a lot of our veterans experience from having a traumatic experience while they were in the military. Basically, post-traumatic stress disorder is related to people that have actually been in war. But one thing that was uncommon about, many people don't know what the symptoms are. I mean, you don't just get a T-shirt and they say when you get out, you got PTSD. But you can start having some of these symptoms that you may find yourself having trouble sleeping. You may find yourself depressed. So if you're a veteran, you're down there in TDC, and you're struggling, and you're finding yourself, you're not feeling normal, I want you to go and seek medical help and bring up the idea that, hey, I may be suffering from PTSD. When you get out, I'm not going to guarantee they're going to pay you because you got PTSD. But if you get diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, that's a disability. And the government will compensate you for that. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be here back in 6 weeks. I love you guys. Keep your heads up.
How do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can get a hold of me here in Houston, Texas. Well, get through you guys. The best way to get through me is to get through through you guys.
So write a letter to 419 Lovett Boulevard. Make it care of the prison show or care of Danny Sneed.
That's right. One. That's right. And David, my good friend David, will make sure I get that information.
Absolutely.
For time consumption, you know what I'm saying, they may not have a pen with them. Just write the show. Write
the show and make it The Prison Show and then care of Danny Sneed. He will get it.
And I'm a U.S. Army veteran.
There it is there. All right, Danny, thank you again.
All right, Mr. Sneed, thank you so much. Okay, for those guys who are about to get out and you're also a vet, remember, stop at the VA first.
Also, we want to thank Janie for a generous pledge. We're not even in fund drive, and here's somebody that recognizes the need of KPFT.
Because we'll take your money anytime.
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 Recognizes the need to keep this station on the air. Thank you, Janie.
Thanks.
Okay, now coming up next is Miss Pat Hartwell.
Yep.
With Execution Watch. Okay, Sharon, please.
She's not Execution Watch. She's
That's right. Hank, I'm Rusty.
We'll get the rest of it.
Hi, Pat. We got you on.
I'm only Execution Watch when the state of Texas decides to kill somebody. Right. Otherwise, I'm the prison show Death Row.
Death Row Watch. Okay. Now that we got that straight. What do you have for us today?
Greetings to everyone on Texas Death Row, their families, friends, and pen pals. Today's Friday, July the 21st. No one has been added to the execution list, so currently the list is July the 27th, Tai Chin. August the 30th, Stephen Long. September the 7th, Juan Castillo. October the 12th, Robert Pruitt. October the 18th, Anthony Shore. October the 26th, Clinton Young. January the 30th of 18, William Rayford. I want to add a word about Tai Chin and his pending execution this coming Thursday. They say truth is stranger than fiction, and once again the state of Texas has shown it. The attorneys for Tai Chin have filed a motion the other day in the federal district court stating that Tai Chin's trial attorney, Brandy Estelle, was not only utterly qualified, she resorted to using the public crowdsourcing site Wikipedia for research. I know that's too bizarre to believe, but it's true. It is also reported that she relied on another attorney who had previously been disbarred for showing a gargantuan indifference to the interests of clients. We are sure that Tai Chin's attorneys will do their best. I want the world to know that our guys and our death row are fighting an uphill battle. The trial attorneys, some of the appeal attorneys are doing nothing for them, and this is the kind of stuff that these guys have to go through. We hope the best for Tai Chin. We hope it works in the courts. If it does not, we will be there for you, Tai Chin. I want you to hold your head up, and I want you to know that Pat sends his love. He has not seen you for a while. He sends his love, and he's just upset. The ruling since July the 7th, when I was on last, or July the 11th, the fifth rule in Scott Panetti's case, vacating the district court's denial of an appointed counsel and expert funding, vacated its factual findings relating to Scott's competency and remanded for additional proceedings. The fifth also ruled that Scott was entitled funding for experts and other investigative resources. And because the district court conclusion was tainted by the inadequate due process protection provided to Scott by the state, the fifth vacated the district court's findings of fact regarding his competency to be executed. This is wonderful news for Scott. July the 18th, the Southern Federal District Court denied a COA to Willie Washington, stating Willie's claims of ineffective assistance of state habeas counsel were general and vague, and he did not make a sufficient showing to justify investigative funds. Today, on July the 21st, Pettitan was denied habeas corpus relief in the Waco District Court. That's McClendon County. But the judge did allow the defense appeal attorneys an opportunity to present briefs on two topics. One, his developmental disability, and two, his claim of ineffective counsel. These are due in 120 days. In the Supreme Court rulings on July the 19th, because of summer recess, there are no rulings this time around. Petitions have been filed for Anthony Shores, order extended time to file July the 24th. Obi Weathers, order extended time to file response is August the 7th.
Cheney is the one who
Jeffrey
made the
Wood,
donation.
order extended time to file response is September the 5th. Jamie Collins, order extended time to file response is August the 9th. Garcia White, order extended time to file response is August the 9th. Petitions for writ of cert have been filed for Damon Matthews. Response is due August the 4th. Raul Cortez, response is due July the 28th. Thomas Whitaker, response is due August the 7th. Kwame Rockwell, response is due August the 10th. Troy Clark, response is due August the 16th. Gilmore Guevara, response is due August the 21st. Robert Pruitt, response is due August the 10th. There's only one current conference that's on the website. It's Stephen Wrong, and it's for September the 25th. The few announcements I have, Scarlett Holman passed away on July the 12th. For those who might not know her, Ms. Holman, along with a woman named Maria Dean, changed the landscape of capital punishment in the U.S. by their mitigation techniques. A new book has come out titled A Courageous Fool. The Marshall Project has featured both women in an article titled We Saw Monsters, She Saw Humans. In the legislative this session, a law was passed to install cameras in the TCCJ appeal court. The videos will be available to anyone who needs them for a case. Of course, Judge Keller opposed them. This is good news, y'all. Now we'll get videos instead of just audios of the appeals. Texas House Bill 34 was recently signed into law by Greg Abbott and will take effect in September. In the bill are several items, but the most newsworthy is the jailhouse snitch. As we all know,
Janie.
especially the guys from
Janie
Harris
is in
County,
green.
And number 2,
jailhouse snitches are used quite often.
Yeah, I know, and I tried to fix it to Janie, and that's when it turned green, so I didn't know what I'm missing anymore. Oh, okay. Thank you.
There are more than 7 of y'all sitting up there in parentheses because of her taxes.
What did you push? Alt 2?
I want to talk a little about the heat. I didn't hear
I pushed
the previous
Control 2,
guest,
and that
and I
gave
don't
me
know
the
if they
greens.
talked about the heat. The federal court that ruled that the PAC unit within 15 days had to give air conditioning. The PAC unit has the elderly and disabled prisoners in there. The state has already appealed, y'all, so don't expect air conditioning within 15 days. I hope it gets there, but don't expect it. Also, the Law Parties bill, which was very important to our death row people, failed in committee. We have a hint as to why it failed. Moody is the chairman of that committee, and he received an award from the criminal justice attorney, DA attorneys of some sort. I'm going to Xerox the letter and send it in. And so now we know why our bills are failing. It's because of bribery. It was reported on July the 9th that Rodney Reed will be able to go to Bastrop County for a hearing beginning on October the 10th. This hearing will present claims that could point to Rodney's innocence, such as the contradictions in Jimmy Fennell's alibi. As we all know, Jimmy Fennell is the actual person who committed the crime. He is now in TDC for raping women. Robert Campbell has once again left Palenski, this time for good. He's in the Bird unit, y'all, awaiting housing. Dwayne Buck has left, and he's in Harris County awaiting a decision from Kim Ogg on how to proceed. We wish them the best in this next chapter of their life. Before I close, guys, I want to say something about solidarity and camaraderie. Guys, we are all in this battle for the same cause. We are all on the same side, especially y'all behind the walls. When one falls, all of you fall. Please look out for each other and respect each other. There is no earthly reason to isolate an individual because of his race or his mental status. Stick together and fight the one enemy we all have. We need to fight to abolish the death penalty. Stay as cool as you can, guys. Drink plenty of water and use caution outside when exercising. Keep your heads up, stay strong, and fight together. I love you.
All right, Pat. Thank you so much for your update.
You're welcome. See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
All right, joining us in the studio, we have Daniel and Jess for our Spanish section.
Two Jessicas. Está Daniel, está Jessica 1, Jessica 2.
So we have Jessica squared, and we have Daniel. It takes 2 of us. It does. It does.
Jessica squared.
Hence the square. This is Jessica, and Daniel.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, ladies.
Bueno, pues muy buenas noches a todos. Bienvenidos al Prison Show. El aire es vuestro. Vamos a contar algunas cosas. Entre las primeras que hemos recibido cartas. Muchas gracias. No hemos recibido las 20 que había pedido la semana pasada, pero algunas las hemos recibido. Vamos a empezar enseguida con unas cosas que os van a contar. A ver, ¿cómo se quieren llamar estas dos chicas? Güera, a mi derecha, que tenemos en Facebook Live. Y a la otra parte,
Jessica.
Okay, so we call it Jessica. So Jessica, go ahead with the very first 3 names.
Okay, so we have been hearing a lot of accounts of the treatment that people are receiving, or undocumented individuals are receiving when they're being held at detention centers. And I've got another story for you. We have Brenda Menivar Guardado, 21, is being held at the Hutto Detention Center and has been refused proper medical treatment for her type 1 diabetes. Guardado escaped from El Salvador in fear of her life, but now she's asking to rescind her application for asylum so she can return to the country she fears, simply to get the proper medical treatment she needs to save her life.
Okay, bueno, en español le vamos a contar que la señora Guardado, ella es de El Salvador y ella por cualquier causa que están indicando y que es indocumentada, ¿verdad? Y está aquí en los Estados Unidos y están indicando que su ayuda para médico que ella necesita porque ella está diagnosticada con diabetes, no la ha recibido. So ella está solicitando una nueva aplicación para recibir esa ayuda porque fue rechazada por la razón que es una indocumentada.
O sea que es increíble que los indocumentados que están en los centros
americanos
tienen que regresar a su país para que los curen.
Sí, bueno, yo no estoy de acuerdo, no creo que es justo, no es humano, ¿verdad? Pues si están allá aquí en otro país y están requiriendo, como quien dice, asistencia médica de emergencia, esto no es algo chico, esto es algo grande que puede causar muerte.
Claro, exactamente. So that was the very first news regarding the Latino community. Second news.
Also involves ICE. So we have Martin Guerrero. He's a father of 4 U.S. citizen children, a local business owner, and a deferred action for childhood arrivals recipient, also known or popularly known as a DACA recipient. Mr. Guerrero was arrested for driving without a driver's license. So he was then taken to jail on an ICE detainer. Officers can choose to arrest an individual driving without a license or give the violator a citation instead. In this case, Mr. Guerrero was arrested and an ICE detainer was filed. Luckily, though, Mr. Guerrero received a lot of community support in the form of phone calls and emails.
Sí.
And a protest outside of the Hays County Jail.
Gracias a todos vosotros, gracias a la comunidad que ha ido a protestar. So
Exactly.
Very few hours or days later, they
He was actually released on July 1st, all based on community support.
Right. So le damos gracias a todo el público que asistieron en este apoyo para el señor Guerrera. Porque pues no es justo tampoco, como vuelvo a indicar, que solamente por una infracción o por no tener licencia, que sabemos que sí está quebrando la ley, pero tiene que llegar a algo tan drástico así, donde fue a este punto donde va a ser deportado y se lo han llevado a la cárcel, que yo creo que no, es una infracción, ¿verdad?
Exactamente, sí. Y bueno, y esto le puede pasar a mucha gente.
Sí, claro que sí.
Así que denunciarlo y seguir escribiéndonos al Lovett Boulevard 419. El zip code es 77006, porque nos vais a contar estas historias y nos vais a decir si queréis que sigamos contándolas. Third news.
So speaking of DACA again, many advocate groups and legal support groups are asking you to hold off on applying for an initial DACA or a DACA renewal if you have a recent criminal history. Reason is we are unclear as to the Trump administration's intentions towards the program, and some groups are concerned about the handling of individual information that has already been collected. Existing DACA recipients are being cautioned that they may lose their work authorizations or they may not be qualified for renewals.
Sí, y lo está siguiendo además, hay una asociación de voluntarios en Berkeley, en California, que está siguiendo.
Now, isn't there also an outside chance that the administration might use the information, addresses and such, to go out and pick people up?
Yes, that is true.
That's the fear. It's really an ambiguous state right now, and so that's a fear, absolutely.
Eso sí es correcto. Entonces, ahorita lo que estamos indicando y lo que le estamos queriendo dar a entender es que ahorita cualquier persona que está queriendo apoyar o queriendo meter una solicitud o renovar una solicitud de DACA, le estamos pidiendo que por favor no lo haga por el momento, porque ahorita todo eso, como quien dice, está en el aire, ¿verdad? No sabemos qué va a pasar. Y sí tenemos informado, como acabo de decir, Hank, que tal vez ellos están utilizando esa información para levantar a estas personas que están en estos programas que están beneficiando, y eso a ellos no le parece.
Estas eran las tres noticias que queríamos daros, que son representativas de lo que le puede pasar a la gente latina indocumentada y que por tanto está ahí entre la puerta si entrar o salir de la cárcel o entrar y salir del país.
Así es.
So I think that these are threats to civil rights, these three examples that we brought to you, and they are threats that they provoke fear and uncertainty, like Hank was saying. So is this environment of uncertainty that is what we are denouncing here. So the fear to drive your car, to drop off the kids at school, or the fear to ask for help because you're sick, or the fear to apply or not apply for a work permit because you want to work.
Así es. Uno no sabe. Uno quiere pedir la ayuda porque están todos indicando que debes de pedir ayuda, pero uno ya ni sabe si debe de pedirla o no, porque la información que da uno la están utilizando para poder dañar a la gente latina.
Y mira, este momento de crisis que tenemos aquí de derechos civiles ofrece una oportunidad para que nuestros gobiernos locales, así que aquí estamos hablando a los que entienden español, a los que hablan español, aquí en Houston, aquí ahora mismo, porque decimos que a estos gobiernos locales y a las escuelas que se dediquen a promover una comunidad amorosa que asume la responsabilidad de proteger a sus miembros más vulnerables, porque estamos hablando de ellos, de los miembros más vulnerables de esta manera. Lo que se hace protegiéndolos es aumentar el bienestar y la seguridad de todos. Esto es lo que además nos cuenta el grupo Demos y Latino Justice.
Ok, perfecto.
Otra cosa quiero decir en estos últimos minutos, cuáles son las razones para que nuestros gobiernos locales implementen las políticas que protegen a los inmigrantes. So why the local government should help these communities without documents, or let's say in general the weaker communities. No es por caridad cristiana, no es por eso. Es por el bienestar de la comunidad entera. En cierto modo, ayúdame a traducir esto, el gobierno tiene que proteger a las personas que son más vulnerables porque el gobierno mismo se autoprotege.
Así
es. Porque así, de esta manera, estamos todos más seguros. Por ejemplo, ¿qué pasaría si los indocumentados tuviesen miedo de reportar crímenes a la policía? ¿Qué pasaría?
So we really do depend on everybody in the community to feel safe, to go to the police and report crimes, report anything that they see. If you see something, say something, right, is what we always say. But you need to be comfortable and feel that you are safe enough to go to the police and say
pues
something.
Jessica, el 44% de los latinos no denuncia o no son propensos a acudir a la policía si temen que los oficiales les pregunten por su estatus migratorio, el 44%. Por esta razón, las asociaciones nacionales de policía, además, están en contra de esto que estoy hablando, que es el Senate Bill 4.
Así es. Ojalá que vamos a ver qué va a pasar con eso.
¿Qué pasaría si los inmigrantes no documentados no se vacunasen?
So we need to make sure, again, community support is important. Everybody's part of the community. Everybody wants to make sure that their community is safe. And we need to make everyone in our community feel safe.
Yo creo que nuestras ciudades no tendrían que compartir información sobre el estatus migratorio con el gobierno federal, a excepción de lo requerido por la ley, o sea, si las personas fueran sospechosas de actividad criminal. Ser indocumentados es una violación civil, ¿de acuerdo? No criminal. Lo repito, ser indocumentado es una violación civil y no criminal. Por lo tanto, yo estoy en contra del Senate Bill 4 porque creo que la policía estatal y local no deben proceder a identificar ni a arrestar personas sospechosas de ser indocumentadas. Bueno, I think that this last piece you will translate it, Hank, now, because it's your time. But I took a stand in here on Senate Bill 4. I denounced it. I said why it is unfair, and I brought up like 2 or 3 examples to denounce it.
All right,
say it in English. Tell
I just said it.
He just said it.
It's it's just very concisely.
There are reasons for it, but I'm not sure they got that in English.
Yeah, I think that it is fair to say that we need to protect our most vulnerable part of the community. This is the main point. Is a point about civil rights, and is a point to conserve the community and the equilibrium that we have within this community.
I might point out that our Constitution was not written specifically for citizens of the United States, but for all people in the world, that these were truths we held to be self-evident, that all people were created equal. It's not strictly for inside reporters, it's how our country is supposed to act to everyone.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, and Daniel. You are listening to KPFT Houston 90.1, and I believe, well, there we go. Very nice, very nice.
I am concerned. So, should we leave it out here?
Background or do-it-yourself guidance or troubleshooting with their solar installation project. Workshops take place at TXRX Labs, 205 Roberts Street, Houston, Texas 77003 on the last Friday of each month except for July and December from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. For more information, visit eventbrite.com and search Houston Renewable Energy Group or email info@houstonrenewableenergy.org. KPFT Houston.
Just tell me.
Great music moves your heart and soul.
Holly, when we come back, you
make
need
a
to do
difference by
KPFT
donating
Houston.
something, whether it's moving or not. An old car, RV, motorcycle, tractor, or boat. To KPFT's gift donation program as this year comes to a close. Since 1970, KPFT has moved your heart and soul with programming that matters to you. Just call 1-855-KPFT-CAR or visit kpft.org to help out now. Your tax-deductible donation before the new year gets you going, and it makes such a difference at the station that is the heart and soul of our community. So just move on over to the phone and call 1-855-KPFT-CAR or visit kpft.org, and we'll make it easy to donate to the nonprofit radio station that you love. This is KPFT Houston, 90.1 FM, kpft.org online. Thank you.
Hi, everybody, and we are back. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We are going to go directly into our callers. Let's go to Guadalupe calling from Mexico City. Guadalupe?
Yes, ajá, sí. Buenas noches. Hola, Chara es para mi hijo Jan Henry Ramírez, de aquí de México. Te mando muchos saludos, hijo, besos y abrazos. Y esperando que te encuentres bien, y nosotros aquí estamos bien todos, gracias a Dios. También te quiero decir que ya pronto, ya mero, hijo, no te preocupes, ya mero llega Melissa para que vayan y te visiten y te lleven al niño. Tú no te preocupes, tú aguanta un poquito más, mijo. Aguante, mijo, nada más. Yo ya cada rato digo, me dice, ya mero, ya mero, ya mero, para que ya te vayan a visitar, hijo, porque yo sé cómo has de estar, ¿verdad? Deseoso de ver al niño, y ¿verdad? Pero no se preocupe, mijo. Entonces, mire, yo quiero que esté tranquilo. Y le mando muchos saludos, muchos abrazos a mi hijo y que Dios me lo bendiga, me lo guarde, me lo cuide siempre, lo tenga en sus manos, y le dé mucha tranquilidad a mi hijo para seguir adelante. Aquí te pasa Melissa, mi hijo, y Dios te bendiga, hijo, te quiero mucho. Hola, John, ¿cómo estás? Espero que hayas tenido una buena semana. Te hablamos para saludarte, decirte que esperemos primeramente Dios en 2 semanas que esté en Brasil y viendo a visitarte la tercera semana. Te acabamos de escribir unas cartas, espero que las hayas recibido. Te queremos mucho. Te mandamos fotos, espero que también las hayas visto. Te esperamos ahí, nada más llegando, así que no puedes salirnos. También te voy a llevar a mis hijos. Mi papá te manda saludos, Armando también, Jovita, todos te mandan saludos. Te queremos. Cuídate mucho. Dios te bendiga. Gracias. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for calling in.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to Jeannie from Houston. Jeannie?
Hello?
Hi, yeah, I have you on. And thank you very much for your generous donation tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Have a good week.
This is going out.
Thank you for calling KPFT. This is
I
Di.
want to tell you that we're doing good. Haven't got any
Sure,
email
what's your
from
name?
you. I know they're still monitoring. The last letter I got from you was the 11th.
Where are you calling from, Maria?
So we're doing good. We're going to get up early tomorrow in the morning and everything to go
And Polonsky?
get your shoes and all that, but the kids want to tell you hi. Hold on.
Hi.
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold.
Now you're going to come back home because I've been waiting this whole time to get
No.
to the party.
Oh, what happened?
My I'm listening to that little kid. When are you gonna come home? Because you missed my party.
Hey, Papa. So when you get out, don't be bad and all that. Don't drive and drink. Where's the thing? Hi.
Okay. Well, the grandbaby, she's telling you hi and everything. We're going to get up early in the morning tomorrow and go do your shopping and all that. And I'll write you tomorrow and send you pictures of the kids and all that. But I hope you're doing good and everything. And I'm writing, so I don't know if you're getting my letters or not. But like I said, the last letter I got from you was the 11th and all. But I do love you and I miss you and I hope you're doing good. And I'll call you next week. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
All right. We have Mary Beth from Seattle.
Good evening, guys. How are you?
Oh, we're doing super.
Good. My shout out is for Rodney.
Thanks for calling
Reed
KPFT.
on
This is Di.
Columbia. Hey, well, it's Friday night, and I know Judy's on
Hello, Miss
hold,
Nancy.
and I think Julie was calling in as well, although her message to me said that she was barely hanging on and pretty tired. So she
Okay,
might be
and
sleeping
I'll
through
put
date
you on
night.
hold.
But anyway, I'm out here in Seattle, and just another beautiful day here. Haven't had a JPay out to you in a bit. I'm so sorry. I know I explained in my last one that I was working hard and not feeling that well. I'm still battling it
I
a
met
little
that,
bit, but I'm hoping over the next week or so
Nancy.
things get a lot
Miss
better, and I'll be
Nancy.
back in touch. But
This
just wanted
Daniel, this is
to say
Mama.
hey,
I
let you
met
know
her
that I
at
love you. I
the
think
prison.
about
She
you
was
every
just as sweet
day,
as she sounds.
and I
How
hope
old
you're
is she?
feeling
Just
healthy
curious.
and
She's
strong
old.
and
She
staying
wears her
calm
hair in
and know
that
that
little
there's
weird,
all those
funny,
people out here
wrapped
that
up braid.
think
You know,
about
she
you a
looks
lot
like
and are hoping for
a
the best.
regular old grandma.
And that's
Looked
my
just
story
like
for
she
tonight,
sounded.
and thanks to the prison
So is
show,
her
you guys,
son,
for everything you do for us.
like middle age or?
Appreciate you too. Thank you, Mary Beth.
Thanks.
To tell
Have
you
a
the
good
truth, I
weekend.
don't know.
You too.
He probably
Bye-bye.
is, yeah.
All right. Next, we're going to Maria from Corpus Christi. Maria, what do you got for us?
Hi, this is for my grandson, John Henry Ramirez Jr.
Thank you for calling KPFT. This is Di.
We all talk about him, and we all remember good times and bad times with him. And that we're here.
Tony, where are you calling from?
I have not heard from Jan.
And you said what unit? The
But I'll call her tomorrow. And Ashley's probably on the other line somewhere because she called me that she's going to call. And,
okay, I'm going to put you on hold.
Everybody else here is doing okay. Well, Grandpa, of course, was in the hospital, but it's the same old, same old. Nobody seems to know what's wrong with him. And other than that, we're doing okay. And I hope you're doing fine. And I hope that you're in good health. And as far as the pictures, you look very healthy. And Billy's lucky. Anyway, we love you. We miss you. And we'll keep praying for you and everybody else that's here. My heart goes out to all the family that has somebody there just like us. And God bless all of you, and good night. And we love you, and we'll keep praying. And I know we'll be getting good news for you. Thank you all. Thank you all so much.
All right, Maria. Thank you
we
so
really
much.
appreciate this program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. God bless you. Bye-bye.
And Judy from Florida.
Good evening. I am calling to shout out to Rodney Reed. Happy date night, Rodney. I'm sure you had 2 wonderful visits, and I'm so happy that
Thank
you were
you
able
for calling KPFT.
to see
This
your
is
family
Di.
the last 2 days. That is awesome. I had a super busy
I'm doing
day
just
today.
fine. How are you?
I got up early and spent 10 hours
Oh, I'm
painting
glad to
ground.
hear that.
I am pretty sore tonight. I didn't get it all done, and if I'm
Okay.
able to get out of bed tomorrow and move,
I'll put you on
I'm going
hold.
to try and finish it tomorrow. I've got the hallway and the living room left to do. I put down the mulch, 18 bags, last night. So it's been a busy 2 days of chores. Hopefully I can
Bad Bob just
finish it
came
tomorrow.
Oh,
If
no,
not,
that
I'm
means
too
they're all
sore. I'll
gonna
do
come.
it next weekend. I heard from
Well,
Aaron
maybe
at
not. Maybe they've been
9:21
warned away from
your
here.
time, and he said they were about an hour
Well, if
out.
they come here and they
So I
start
asked that
that
he
stuff, I'll
text
give
me
it
when he
back
gets
to
home.
them.
So if I get it while I am shouting out,
They
I'll
know
let
it,
you
too.
know, because I know it's important to you, and I don't want you worrying all weekend. I'm
Okay,
sure
you ready to go?
he's going to make it home safe. Mom got to
attention.
see the new great-grandchild today. She posted pictures, and I've added a couple.
Number one is
Phoenix
watermelon.
back. I know she was super excited. Kaylee comes home Tuesday, and she's going to be a sad camper, but summer went super fast
1 minute.
for her, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
Well,
And the
baby,
next
I thought
one's
about
Black
you all day
History.
today and had a smile on my face because I knew you were having an amazing visit. I hope all is well there and you're dealing okay with the heat. I'll send a JK out on Monday. I love you, Rodney Reed. Sending you hugs and kisses.
That it?
Miss you so much. Stay strong. Keep the faith. Continue to hope and dream. Our dreams are alive and well. Thinking and praying for you. 56066. Good night and sweet dreams. Love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Good night.
I got a
Good night,
message
Judy.
from
Thank
this
you for calling.
lady named Catalina
I just wanted to
Mansfield.
say a quick
Never
thank
heard of
you
her.
to Miss Irma.
I never heard of her
Salinas.
either. It's just like she said, I've met you on the
And
prison show, and I thought
she just
that
put
covers a
in a
lot of territory.
donation for the station, which is greatly appreciated and very much needed.
Thank you for calling KPFT. This is
She
Donna.
wants, she loves the show,
Hello?
and I'm sorry I can't read
Yes.
it, CD.
You want to do a shout out? What's your name?
Go ahead, read that for me, CD.
And where are you calling from, Joanna? And what unit, please?
I see. That's okay. So thank you so much for that
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on
donation,
hold.
and we will always take any donation that you might have to give us, whether we're in Fund Drive or not.
We got another donation?
We're happy to take. We will take it too. Okay, let's get back to the phone calls. We have Bella from North Carolina.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, we're doing just great, Bella. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hey, Jedediah.
These
Hey,
guys,
baby, I
Mike.
love you and miss
Who?
you, and
Out here?
I'll see you
Hell, I don't
really, really soon. And we are at Myrtle Beach tonight, and we will be here until Monday.
If they walk in, I'll ask them
We
who
got
they
here
are.
around 3 o'clock today, and
Look,
Vanessa
somebody else
visits,
wants to
and
come in. Should I
they're
let him
having
in?
the time of their life. They stayed in the water
It's
until
Doyle.
9 o'clock,
Okay.
and we went and had dinner.
Got
And
himself
now they're
in.
back
All
down
right.
at the pool.
Oh,
but
maybe
when
they're
I
here
hang
with
up
Doyle.
from here, I'm going to go down and have them to come out. So I don't know if you have the JK I sent you last night yet. But in it, I told you that I had visited Slender's mom yesterday because she had a bad stroke. And I went down to see her, and I spent a few hours talking to Slender's sisters and things. And
Do you know who they are?
and she's really sad to see Bonnie like that. But I'm so thankful I made it down there because they called me this morning, and she passed away around 9 o'clock this morning. So at least I know she's not suffering, and she's in heaven with Belinda. And I know that's how we have to look at it. So I know they're up there together, and I know that makes both of them happy. So just keep all of our family in your prayers and thoughts. And I just wanted to let you know, and the girls and I are doing good, so don't worry about us. I just wanted to call in and let you know that I love you, and I'll see you soon. So you take care and stay safe for me. I love you, Jedediah. Night night and sweet dreams. Thank you.
All right, Bella. Thank you so much for calling in. Okay, let's go to Maria from McAllen.
Yes, hi. This is Lydia. I think you took my name down wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lydia.
It's okay. It's okay. Just calling to let my son know that we're doing fine.
Thank you for calling KPFT. This is
Patty
Donna.
is doing good, mijo.
Hello?
Jennifer Lee went back to Round Rock.
Clarence?
Today. Just came in yesterday just for the
San
funeral.
Angelo?
And Sachita went back today also. This morning I dropped her off.
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold.
Come in since Monday or Tuesday, and I dropped her off at the bus station this morning to take off to Monterrey. And that's it. Just Jennifer came in from out of town, and Mariano, he was out, so he flew in. But I'll see you Monday and Tuesday, Papacito. Jacqueline was supposed to be coming up with me. At least that's what she has there, so I hope she'll still be able to go. And Amanda also left. Amanda left with, what's her name, the Galvan, Sucha's daughter, the one that lives up in Houston. Amanda went back up with her this morning. She left at 7, and she's home already also. But your Patty's doing fine, and we're doing good, Papacito, okay? I love you, and I miss you, and I want to wish you a happy birthday, Papi. I know under the circumstances, it's not a... But you have a happy birthday, Nico, and you celebrate there with the guys and share the Lord has blessed with me, okay? And I love you, and I'll see you, okay? And my saludos to the guys, Big Lou, Jeff, Rudy, and Joey, and
So you
Rod,
doing your
and
shout out tonight?
all you
Wanna do it
guys.
here
You know
or
who
in
you
there?
are. Lane and Eric, and Miss and Walter. Okay? I'll see you on Monday, mijo. Take care, and I love you, puppy. Good night.
This is my
Thank
attention
you. Thank
getter.
you very much, ma'am.
All right, Lydia.
Happy
Thank you for calling
happy
in.
birthday, mijo. I love you. Bye. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Okay, we've got Nancy from Sulphur Springs. Nancy.
Oh, thank you so much. So, Daniel, this is Mama, and I love you with all my heart, and I always enjoy so very, very much getting to say hello to my son.
Thank you for calling
Yesterday,
KPFT. This is Di.
Missy had her foot repaired, and
Sure, what's
she's
your name?
doing well.
What's your name?
I haven't
I'm sorry?
talked to her, but
EARLY.
Marcus was telling me that she
And where are you
is,
calling from?
she's back at her house with Malaya
And you said
Reagan and the people that help
Okay,
her
I'm gonna
with
put
the
you on hold.
kids are taking good care of her too. And so this is all good news. And
Can you do me a
maybe
favor
when
and
I
sit
do
here
get
for a
to see
second?
him, maybe that would be, I don't know. But when I do see the kids, I will take some
Excuse me, guys.
bubble bowl and stuff, and we will blow some bubbles. I think they would really enjoy that. And Sherry and Doug have just done so much to this place, and to here at the house, you know, when they came, they just made the yard so pretty and done so much to make me happy, and I know you're happy about that too. And today I sent you some pictures of some of it, and I will send you some more tomorrow, some more pictures tomorrow. Anyway, I guess I'll let you go for now, and I love you with all my heart, and good night, and talk to you later, and thank y'all, everybody on KPFT, and y'all all have a good weekend.
Okay, Nancy. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, we have Joanne calling from San Antonio.
Hello.
Hi, Joanne. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that
Thank you for calling
to Joseph
KPFT. This is
Garcia,
Di.
he's on death row. I will see him tomorrow.
I'm doing just fine.
I miss him every
Sierra
day.
or Tiara?
My little one is anxious to see him. She hasn't seen him in a couple weeks. So we're both excited to go and see him tomorrow. And I just want him to
And
know
where are you
that I
calling
love
from
him
again?
and that I think of him every day and I miss him.
Vermont?
And I will
Beaumont.
see him tomorrow.
And
Okay,
Pulaski.
thank you very much, Joanne.
Thank you.
Okay.
Got
now
it.
we have
Thank
a
you so
very
much for
special
calling. I'm
guest
gonna put
in
you
the
on hold.
studio with us.
Yeah, well, who do we have?
Michaela Salinas.
Hi, Michaela.
Hi.
Who would you like to say hi to today?
My dear Gino.
Go ahead. What do you have to say for him?
A shout out for my dear Gino. He's very nice. I miss
Thank you
him.
for calling KPFT. This is Di.
Get well soon, dear Gino. I hope you're fine. God bless you.
And how much do you love?
I love him.
Hello?
Yeah. All right, you know, we just wanted to say hi this evening. We hope that you're doing well, and I got your letter, and that's crazy how much all this is all coming up. So many similar cases with the similar people. So just, you know, keep your head up and be positive and be
Yeah, I'm
patient.
gonna put you
And,
on
you know, I'm sure something is all going to come out of this. Just be patient and, again, be positive. We'll write to you, and you write to us and let us know, you know, what else is going on down there. All right, take care. We love you.
Want to say goodbye?
Bye, dear Gino. Good night.
All right, ladies. Thank you so much for coming by. Okay. It looks like we have Natalie calling from France.
Oh, I forgot to green it.
Hello, my name is Natalie. I call for my friend Robert. Maybe at Polanski tonight. I don't know. Good evening, Robert. I hope that you hear me and that you are well.
Good night.
I still have no news from you.
I'll bring you for you.
Maybe the setting up of the mail is difficult. I will tell you the same thing as last week. For me, all is well. I'm always in Miami. I took care of all my administrative procedures, and everything is well, is done well. I worry about you. I dare not speak directly to Teishin, but I know that he hears me. And I say with all my heart that is not the last time he will hear me. I want to tell you that we all have a truth for you, Teishin. I sent you a letter that you maybe have received this week. Teishin, I don't want to say you goodbye. I don't think the word also. God knows that you are in our hurt. I light a candle tonight for you and pray for all
Or is that just frame by frame on a video?
And also from my
Oh, it's just
dear
pictures.
friend Robert.
They look like they were moving.
And Robert, I'm waiting for your news. I wish you a good night. I hope you receive my package. Teishin, Robert, and Paul, good night and beautiful dreams. I think of you. Goodbye, Robert, and thank you very much, KPFT. Bye.
Okay, thank you, Natalie. All right, we're going to go to
Did we get $2?
Tony from Weimar, is that right? Is that right?
Weimar, that is correct.
Wonderful. What do you got for us?
Hey, I'm giving a shout out to all the guys on the in unit and on the Ramsey unit, True and JJ. So many guys on the wing unit that I want to shout out to. I can't just name
Thanks for
everybody,
calling
but
KPFT.
you know
This is
you are,
Di.
Willie and Rooster and Duke, Victor and Bruce, and all you guys, Madden, Bulletproof, just letting you guys know that things are going great. I went and got my truck yesterday. Went to clean and picked up my truck. It's a 2011 F-154. It's red. It's real nice. Anyway, so I got that. And I think I got a job doing what I was doing down there. I just by luck today, I got in touch with a lady who owns a laser engraving company, and she needs a graphic designer. And I was there in the right spot at the right time. So I think I'm going to be doing that.
Tony, you still there? I think we lost you. Yeah. You there? I think we lost him, y'all.
I'm here.
Oh, he's there. Woo!
Yeah. I'm still here. Oh, they couldn't hear me?
Nope, we couldn't hear you.
For a second, but you're back now.
Oh, okay. All right. No, I was just telling the guys that, you know, things are going well, you know, and just hanging in there. I just got back from an AA meeting a while ago, and I'm just telling you, man, if you just get out here and just do what you're supposed to do, and one day at a time, you know, things just seem to fall in place. I had a visit from my PO today, and we get along real great. She's even going to talk to the board for me next week and get this monitor cut off my leg on the 1st. So, you know, everything's doors are just opening. And it's just, you know, I'm not doing anything special. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. That's all you got to do. And it's easy to stay out here. Real easy. You just do what you got to do. So I'm just encouraging you guys just to hang in there. You know, I'm trying to write as many of y'all as I can. So if I don't get back around to you anytime soon, it's because I'm writing a lot of guys down. A lot of y'all. So just hang tight. I'll get back around to you. Love you guys. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Tony.
All right, Tony.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Now we have a special guest in the studio.
Hi there. How y'all doing tonight? I had some great visits this week. I visited Irving Davis, Paul Story,
Thank you for calling
Stephen
KPFT.
Long,
This is Di.
Johnny Falk, Kershawn Ramey, Franklin Davis, Carrie Allen, and Kasul.
May?
Tomorrow, I'm going to be visiting my little brother, Guy Alexander, at the WIN unit. I'll be there probably around noon. I'm coming with Karen Weir. Manuel Kemp, I'm going to visit you at 5:30 at Pulaski tomorrow night. And Samuel Solomon, I'm going to visit you at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. Okay, I've got some more shout-outs to do. John Ramirez, Will Spear, Robert Frada, Jamie Cole, John Rubio, Danny Bible, Eugene Broxton, Billy Wardlow, Fabian Hernandez, Michael Gonzalez, Abel Ochoa, Patrick Murphy, Daniel Acker, Tony Medina, Fernando Patino, Garland Harper, Milton Gobert, Carlos Trevino, Stephen Russell, Dennis Hope, Greg Gomez, Jason Hernandez, Benito, Stevie, Derek Gales, Rubio, Carlos Bouchette, and Chucky. Kenneth Keeble, Joe Escobedo, Terry Milligan, Rosendo Rodriguez, Beretta, Douglas Armstrong, Michael Winfrey, Perry Williams, Antonia Mathis, Rasheed Robinson wants to shout out to Glenn, ATL Gordon, Lawrence Owen Akins, Nunu, Cody Easter, Wayne Jackson, Lionel Atkins, and Carlos Kidd. That's from the Polunsky unit. The Estelle unit, Daniel Garza, Fort Stockton unit, Jimmy Keeble, Gorey unit, Frank Klepper and Dakota Bible, Ramsey unit, Alva McGrath, Candy Wilkerson, and Harvey Fortune. Wallace Pack 1, John Millette wants to shout out to all IWW members in Pack 1. Darrington unit, James Swarthart, Ray Ray, Christopher Dye, Jeff Andryzak, Jason Williams, and MG. Ferguson unit, Javier Mayorga, Jimmy Carrington, Adam Wilkerson, Stephen Duke, Jeffrey Wallace, and Robert Shepard. Hobby unit, Angel Stolas, Stringfellow, Salvador Urate. Jester 3 unit, Albert Davis, Chris Wright. High Tower unit, Arthur Murphy. The Wind unit, my little brother Guy Alexander. Brewster, JC, Dirty, JR, Zigzag, Cowboy, Woody, Woo Woo, J-Doug, John Boy, Sean, Roadrunner, Wes, and Truck Driver. Randy, Jesse, and Colton, a.k.a. Cowboy. Hopefully I'll get to see you tomorrow, Cowboy, since I'm coming with your wife. Jester 1, Frederick Washington, and Bill Sims. Walls unit, David Farber. Okay, guys, I just wanted to check in tonight, and I'll be back next week, and I'll be making more visits during the week. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thanks, Miss Linda, for popping in.
Okay.
Alrighty, so back to
try to go in there when she comes out.
Philip from Dallas. Philip.
Hi there, how are you this evening?
Wonderful. What have you got for us, honey?
This is for Dan the man on the Polunsky. I want you to know how much I appreciate and needed that letter, and right back at you everything you said and then some with an exclamation point. I had a little bit of a fall this week, unfortunately. Put a big egg on my head, but I think I'm going to live. Didn't think so at first, but I'm going to make it. I'm thinking of you. I'm lifting you up in prayer. I hope you can hear me. I know you've been having problems picking the station up. I hope things are going well for you and you're staying as hydrated and as cool as you possibly can in this most oppressive heat. Know that you're in my thoughts and prayers. I love you. Good night, Daniel Wayne. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye, Philip.
Bye now.
Let's go to Brian from Toronto.
Hi, it's Leanne.
I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm just calling to give a shout out to Luna Gonzalez on the unit. Hi, Romero. It's been, I don't know, like I said a few days ago, but it's been an absolutely insane week. And I think I went on Britney Spears or something because I like
Prison Show, may I help you?
And like shaved all my hair off.
Hey Donna, how are you doing?
My kids are cutting my head like I'm a cat.
Good. So you're going to be in next weekend, huh?
I hope that you are
31st,
doing,
okay.
Okay with the heat. I mean, it's hot enough in Toronto.
Okay, that's good. I know Talon's looking forward to seeing you. Yeah.
In Livingston right now, so I hope that you are okay. And,
okay, well, I'm going to put you on hold. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
On the way to you, and Isaiah actually wrote you another letter, so you'll be getting that as well soon. So I'll be writing you soon, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Thank you very much for dropping in. Okay, now we have Miss Di in the studio.
Hi, this is Di. I hope to find you all doing well and feeling fine. I have a few shout-outs tonight. First is Gabriel at Polunsky. I really enjoyed our visit this today, and I'll see you again next week. I also have a shout-out for Virginia at Polunsky. I look forward to seeing you next week. I have a shout-out for Big Will at Polunsky. I really enjoyed our visit today, and I'll see you again in a couple of weeks. A shout-out for Stephen Sandblom at Darrington. It's been a really busy week, but I got a letter off to you, and I can't wait to hear back from you. I have a shout out for Gable Ochoa at Polonsky. I hope to keep hearing from you. I enjoy
Prison Show, may I help you?
The conversations that the few conversations that we've had.
What's your name?
As always, peace and love to all
Brad
who
from
hears us,
Toronto. How are you
as
doing
well
today?
as those who don't.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Miss Di. All right, and now we have Clarence San Angelo.
Hello, everybody. Ray,
It should have, but I mean, we can check for you. We can't check tonight. We'll have to find out like this week.
If y'all doing well.
Okay, yeah. Okay, are you calling for Polinsky?
On that wild wing.
Okay.
With Clarence Brown, Johnny
All right, I'm gonna put you on hold.
Curry, you too, old Polo.
He said he gave money at the pledge drive,
I'm still
and
trying
it
to
never
find
showed
out
up
out
on
here,
his
man.
credit card.
I'm taking it one day at
Well,
a
we took
time.
his card. I mean, we took his
You know what I'm saying? I got bone cancer, so I really got to take it one day at a time. Kind of slow now.
Because they're doing volunteer
Oh,
thing.
Okay.
Windows King over there on
Dee and I paid on credit
building,
card.
man. I'm
It
thinking
took
about you,
2 or
brother.
3 months to come
I
out.
got your letter. Yeah, I'm not doing much in
Office
writing,
looks like
man.
a bomb exploded
You
up
got
there.
a radio. I know you got a radio.
We're on
Because I made sure of that. So you pick up this station every Friday night, man. And I'm going to try to be calling y'all every Friday if I can. That ain't 260 radiation stuff. I'm going to be calling you. And I'm going to let you know I'm thinking about y'all, man. The sprees, I know you're over there in treatment. And hepatitis C, man. So I hope you're doing well, brother. Let me hear from you, too. And let you better know I'm doing all right. Guess what I ate for breakfast, y'all? 2 pancakes. I know y'all laughing out stuff off behind it there. And I ate 2 pancakes today. I thought I would never eat another pancake, but I ate 2 this morning. Had a pretty nice supper too, man. So I'm thinking about you brothers, man. May Allah bless each and every one of you. All my brothers in white. Everybody in clothes, in white clothes, I want you to meet my brother. I'm thinking about all of y'all, man. But I don't want to be there, brother. So I'll try to stay in touch with you as much as I can. May Allah bless each and every one of you, man. And y'all take care of that station too. I'm thinking about y'all too. Hopefully I can get down to Houston and come by there.
You better. Hey, we want to see you.
Well, I'm going to try to. I'll probably end up at MD Anderson before it's over with, but I'm going to try. I can't do it try. Take it one day at a time.
That's right. All right, let's go to it.
All right, y'all take care.
All right, Clarence, thank you for calling in.
See you Friday.
Okay. Let's go to Early from Mission.
Hello, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I was calling Betito. Is it early? Hopefully you're in good spirits tonight, Nico. You know, as you know that this week has been a very rough week for all of us. You know, parents lost, but we're holding tight. We're all together and lifting up Tia Patty. It was really a big tragedy. We had just been with him the night before, and then we're holding on, and there's a lot of support from family and friends. I love you, Nico. I know it must be very hard for you to have heard this news, and I thank you that they gave you the opportunity to call home, and we love you, and we're praying for you, Nico. And here's Theo Ray and Alex, and good night, Nico, and have sweet dreams, and keep that smile.
That's we just want to wish you a happy birthday on Monday, and hoping that it'll be a better day than the rest. So, just wishing you all the best. We're here nomás mareándola en la casa y watching TV.
Thank you for calling KPFT. This is Di.
Esto, lo otro nomás. Está viendo
Hello?
y comiendo, no hay más.
Hello?
Aquí está Alex y Frank
Yes,
también.
this is a
para que
prison
tenga
show.
chance. We love you.
Are you trying to call
Hey,
a
Kyle,
prison
this is
show?
Alex. I love you. Sending a big hug to you, too. Thanks for the card that you
Hello?
sent me for my birthday. And
Hello?
wishing you, too, a happy birthday coming up early. Like, my mom had said and everything with Aaron. I was like, right now, the
She was trying
family.
to call the prison.
It's the morning,
She was trying to
but
call
we're
the prison
getting through
show.
it. I was like, with the
answered,
support and love of everybody. I was like, right now, too, I was like, we're with the girls, too, right now. I was like with Layla and Raylan right now here. Here's Frank. We love you. Have a happy birthday coming up. Merry Cuz, me, Frank. Say happy birthday coming up. Mine's in 2 days. Thanks for the card. Just finishing up with Aaron's funeral, man.
Thank you for calling KPFT.
Pretty
This is
sad.
Di.
Everybody was really sad.
Sure, what's your
especially
name?
dear Patty, but
Tammy?
I think she'll get through it.
Where are you calling from, Tammy?
Took some pictures.
Venison?
So I'll be sending them to your
Denison.
mom. And I'm sure your mom has some too to send
I
you.
said that last week too, didn't
And,
I? And
my
what
surgery
unit?
will be coming up here pretty soon on the 10th or the 11th of
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold.
going on surgery number 32. So we'll see what happens with that. The tumor in my leg, my left leg, is about the size of a little bit over, bigger than an egg, spreading into my pelvis. So they're gonna go in there and see take care of that. I've been walking with a cane.
Oh.
I just barely got out of bed about a week ago. Before that, I was in bed for about 6 weeks. Not moving at all. So, feeling a lot of pain, but I'll get through it, I guess. But anyway, I just want to say I love you and miss you. So, happy birthday.
Okay, Nikito, good night. Be tight. Many hugs and kisses, Nico. I'm embracing you and loving you and lifting you up. Lots of hugs and kisses. And thank you all. Good night.
Okay, thank you so much for calling in.
Yes.
And now we're with Brad from Toronto.
Hey, how's it going?
I forgot to green him.
So what?
I forgot
Well,
to
good
green
shout
him.
out is for Cornell. I don't know if you're back at the Pulaski
Oh, no,
unit
that
yet.
was Linda.
Yet.
Linda forgot to green him.
I know your hearing was just today, so I'm not sure if you're hearing this, but it was awesome to get a phone call from you, and
Thank you for
I
calling
was
KPFT.
hoping for at
This is
least
Di.
one more before you get back to the unit. Otherwise, I
yes,
hope
what's
you're
your
doing
name?
well, and I'll be talking to you this coming week a lot.
Where are you calling
JPays,
from?
and I'll talk to you soon. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, Brad,
And
thank you
what
so much
unit,
for
please?
calling in. Now we're going to go out into the control booth. And
Okay, I'm
we're
going to put you
Going live.
on hold.
has to say for us.
Hello, everybody. This is Mysterious Mike on the Historic Prison Show. I'd like to do some shout-outs here. Yovan and Spring Branch, the guys of Texas, Guy Alexander, Jamie Cuppett, Dennis Hope, Stephen Russell. I'd like to do a shout-out to Philip in Dallas, K Money in Houston, Philip Perez in Houston. Carla Riviera wants me to do a shout-out to Alex Molina at the Telford unit. Tasha wants me to do a shout-out to Rito Estrada and Payday. I'd like to do a shout-out to Bonton Mickey, Jive and Jimmy, Haas, Michelle Bateman, Doc, DJ Matt, DJ Oz, DJ Thomas, Frank Klepper at the Gory unit. I'd like to do a shout-out to, let's see here, Bill R. Sims at the Wynn unit. Let's see, Christopher Dye at the Darrington unit. George R. Barr at the Clemens unit, Robert Satillo at the Wynn unit, Mark Holloway at the Luther unit, Adam Wilkerson at the Luther unit, Wayman Spriggs at the Pulaski unit, Edward Darrell Harmon at the Pulaski unit, John R. Green at the Terrell unit, Robert Satillo at the Wynn unit. Have a few more shout-outs here. Michael S. Garcia at the Ferguson unit, Ed Bernard at the Darrington unit, Howard S. Pruitt Sr. at the Pulaski unit, Jose Herrera, Juan Carlos Esparza at the Stringfellow unit.
At what unit?
And Michael Marino and Manuel Marino. And y'all can continue writing me here at the Historic Prison Show, 419 Lovett Boulevard, Houston, Texas. Mysterious Mike Lewis, KPFT. And now back to Holly and everybody else on the prison show.
Thank you very much, Mike. I must drop the ball on Mike. Okay, let's go to number 2. Let's go to Sierra from Beaumont. Hey, Sierra.
Yes, hello. Hi, prison show staff. Blaine Malum, the shout out is for you. Hello, it's me, Sierra. Your mom said to tell you that she loves you. Your other mom, Miss Betty, took off for her trip to Africa. She loves you too. Jerry says hello. And I look forward to seeing you soon next week. And also, us girls, as you know, we're going to visit y'all and then go out afterwards. Shooter's girlfriend, his wonderful girlfriend Angie, and Jeff's wonderful girlfriend Lori, and I are all going to go out and go hang out. Don't worry, guys, we're not going to the club or nothing. We're just going to go out to eat and have a good time. Probably gossip about. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. But we all definitely look forward to seeing y'all very soon. And Blaine, hope you enjoyed the prison show and hearing your music on the radio. I still think John did a very good job with your songs. And, of course, thanks to the prison show staff for letting Blaine's family and myself and all of us come up there and be there. And definitely plan to hopefully see you guys again. And thanks for all you do. You're definitely doing something great for the people behind the walls and the families of the people behind the walls. So thank y'all so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Bye-bye.
All right. May from Florida.
Thank you. Buenas noches para todos. ¿Cómo están? Espero que hayan tenido una linda semana. Tengo un
Thank you
mensaje
for calling
corto
KPFT. This is Di.
que dice, vuélvete a levantar. Seguramente
Rosa?
habrá tropiezos en tu camino al andar, pero aunque caigas 1000 veces, vuélvete a levantar. Elige ser optimista,
And what
aún
unit,
en
please?
tiempos sombríos. Como una mariposa renace de su capullo,
Okay, I'm going to put you
deja
on
que
hold, please.
surja ese héroe que tienes adentro tuyo. Aunque caigas 1000 veces, vuélvete a
Thank you for
levantar.
calling KPFT. This is
Bendiciones
Di.
para todos. Cuídense y
I'm
que
doing
tengan una
great.
semana bendecida.
No,
Quiero
you're
dar
just
un
squeezing in. What's your
saludo
name?
especial a mi amigo que me está escuchando. Y tú, el de la sonrisa
Did we
de
lose
oreja
you
a oreja,
earlier?
¿cómo estás? Me tienes olvidado,
Really?
no he recibido ni una banderita tuya en mayor parte de este mes.
Oh, I'm so
Espero que
sorry
estés
we
bien.
lost you. I
Tu
remember
mami
you
no se
calling
va a
in
poder
earlier, and
conectar.
I'm not
Está
used to you
haciendo una
calling in
actividad
this
en la
late.
iglesia y me pidió que te dijera que
Okay.
te quiere mucho, te extraña,
Okay.
que tu hermano Alex, no sé
Okay,
cómo,
I'm gonna
pero
put you
lavó
on
una
hold.
carta que te había escrito y te la va a volver a tener que escribir. Así que dale un poco más de tiempo. Te aprecio, estoy pensando en ti. Quiero que sepas que te mando todo mi apoyo, mis fuerzas para seguir adelante y positivismo, que todo va a estar bien. Estamos ya pasando el ombligo del año y las oportunidades y las nuevas bendiciones están en camino para ti. Cuídate, un abrazo y hasta pronto. Cuídate, chao. Thank you guys, have a good night.
Thanks, May. All right, we're going to go over to Donna in New Jersey.
Hello.
Hi, Donna.
Hi. Hey, come on, it's Donna. I was just calling you really quick to say, hey, I'm sitting here and a spider, oh my God.
Thank you for calling
spider was
KPFT.
right
This is
on my
Di.
chest, like right in my face, on the corner
Sure,
of my
what's your
shirt.
name?
And had I not just watched a Harry Potter movie a couple of
And where
days
you
ago, I
calling from?
surely would have tried to smash the life out of the spider, but I didn't do that.
And what unit?
But now I don't know where the spider is. So now I'm sitting
Already?
here with all the lights on. So
Okay,
the
I'm
spider
gonna put
doesn't
you on
sneak up
hold.
on me. And I'm not a lights person. I'm a lights off person. So this is very uncomfortable. But that's what's going on with me right now. So I can't really think about anything else because it was a big spider.
No more calls.
But anyway, your godmom gave me a message
Got
for
it.
you.
Yeah, we're swamped.
She said to tell you that her grandson is with her and that she mailed you some pictures. And Aiden said, what's up, and go Red Sox.
Everybody does 2 minutes. It's
Yeah, so that's
10:55.
that. And I'm good. Everything's good on my end. And I will see you in a couple weeks. And I'm going to get off of the line. And everybody have a good night.
Gonna go tell her.
Who?
All right, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
Holly.
Thank you.
No. Holly can add.
And we've got, let's see, Tammy from Denison.
Hi.
Hey there, Tammy.
Good job, Di.
I'm calling to give a shout out to my son, Michael Holder at the cell unit. We love you, Michael. We miss you. We can't wait to see you. And I have Amari. She wants to say hi.
Hi, Michael. I love you.
And Sajid. Yeah, bro. How you doing? And Zadavian.
Hey, Michael.
We love you. We miss you. And we can't wait to see you. Hugs and kisses. Thank you, Prison Show.
Thank you, Tammy.
Y'all have a blessed day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
And now we've got Rosemary in Paso, Rosemary.
Yes, hello. Blessings to everybody. And I just want to give a special shout out to my child. I love you, mijo. I miss you tremendously. And yes, Alex washed his letter, your letter, in his pants. They were in the pants, and he washed them. So you're going to have to give him a little more time,
hello,
okay?
are you calling for the prison show?
Everything's good over here.
No, I'm sorry,
Praise
you
God.
just missed it.
I love you. I miss you, mijo. And,
no, I'm sorry.
God willing, everything is going to be just fine, okay? We just got to trust in the Lord, okay? He is the witness for everything, and He loves you. He has not forsaken you, okay, or anybody. So, praise God, okay? Could you say that? Faith, okay? And don't start worshiping the Lord, okay? Because we're supposed to worship the Lord, do good and bad. All right? I love you, mijo. Good night. It's raining over here a lot. Okay, bye.
All right, Rosemary, thank you for calling.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, let's go to Rosa from McAllen. Rosa?
Hello. Yes. Hello. Happy birthday, Rosa. Calling to wish you a happy birthday, hijo. I hope that you have the courage to celebrate the day that the Lord has made for you, regardless of what we go through. You know that He is good, His word is true, and don't be saddened about what we go through trials. The trials will come no matter what. But just
Thank you for
remember
calling
that
KPFT. This is
He
Di.
is there for us no matter what we go through, and we're doing
Did you get
fine.
hung up on again?
That will give us a peace, you know, that we're
I'm
strong.
putting you back on hold.
And just keep praying. Don't you pray for your Dia
I do
too.
not know what is going on with
we
your calls.
believe that you are going to be fine. Keep your head up. Be strong.
Oh, maybe that's
Don't
it.
be saddened.
We'll blame it
I
on
know
that
it's
anyway.
sad to see one of our loved ones go, but everything's well because we know that they're in
Okay,
a
back
better
on hold.
place. We love you, Tito, and I'll be there soon to see you. I don't know if I'll be going with your mother this time, but you celebrate with your friends, and thank God for this day that you're 1 year older and wiser. God gives us wisdom. Remember that you ask for wisdom, He will give it to you. Love you, hugging kisses, hijito. We love you and we miss you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosa. All right, Sandy from Austin.
Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me. My husband, he's at the already unit. His name is Carlos, but he goes by Chato. And I just want to tell him that we love him so much, me and the kids. And we received his letters, and it's keeping us positive, and we're just in good spirits now. And Sunday, so we're going to say thank you so much for having us, and good night. Good night, Daddy. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, Hank from Wisconsin.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
Great.
Oh, we're doing great.
That's good. I just wanted to call and say hi to all my buddies back there. The weather's bad up here. The phone keeps on dropping me. I've been trying to get in. The phone died about 4 or 5 times already. Hey, y'all have a good week, and no, I ain't forgot about you. Thank you for doing what you do there at the station. I sure do appreciate y'all. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, Hank.
Now you
Thank
got
you so
10
much
minutes.
for calling.
Thank you for everything you do.
All
Bye-bye.
right. That looks like that's our last phone call for the night. I want to thank y'all for calling in. So we had an amazing show, as we always did. Let's see. We had a visit from Tifa's Jennifer Erschabek. It was always good hearing from her. We had Doug Smith and Alison Brock with the Criminal Justice League. We had... Who else did we have? We had Dan Sneed. Yeah, we had Pat Hartwell.
I agree.
No, I keep saying that.
Yeah, she just goes down to, well, she's with execution watch only if they're killing somebody.
That's right.
Only if they're committing murder. No, but she's the actual prison, she's the death row reporter for the prison show. She's official.
That's right. So we didn't really get to touch on the Heat lawsuit. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, the judge actually ruled that TDCJ has to do something with that particular unit that the people are on.
The bird unit.
It's not the bird unit. Without reading the article, I don't want to say what you did because I have to read the article to see. You know, Wallace Nader came in for a while, and she was helping out. And she was,
I remember Wallace.
She's the attorney that helped sue them from Texas Civil Rights Group. So, I mean, what it is there's a bunch of inmates that are sick and they're ill and they're really having a hard time. And, you know, I did time. And I was on Hutchins State Jail, which is probably the one that's been wrote up the most for the heat because it's one of those 10 buildings. And by the time you get in there and it's 120, 130 degrees and there's no window to open up.
Yeah.
You know, I did time on the Bird Unit and on Coalfield, and we had windows we could open up and we could turn the fan on. I'm not saying that it was all that, but at least it was bearable. You know, I mean, but whenever I was on Hutchins State Jail, we'd wet our T-shirt, and within 2 or 3 minutes, the T-shirt was dry.
Yeah, yeah, of course it would.
I mean, it was something's got to be done.
Well, didn't they have to petition for box fans last year?
Yeah, not actually box fans. They tried to get some kind of it was an air cooling unit, a chilled water system.
Okay.
And you know, have you ever seen one of them? We used to have them in the kitchen, and they just rolled around, and they're maybe about 3.5, 4 foot tall. And they're on wheels and they're only about 2 foot wide. They're really not all that. But I guess it's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing, yeah, and you can't even get that. That's a shame.
And you know, a lot of people are in uproar, and I'm not of the advocacy, and I don't want to get the prison show in trouble, but I don't know that they have to be chilled to 70 degrees. You know what I mean?
Something.
But
Something under 100.
Yeah, something under 100. I mean,
something under life-threatening.
Get them down to where it's bearable, about 78 or 80 degrees. I mean, I can live in that. I mean, you don't have to have to where you got to put your coats and everything on. I mean, it's not like it's a hospital setting. It is prison.
Yeah.
I mean, I did my crime and I deserve my punishment.
Yeah.
But I don't deserve to die.
No.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's the deal. And just want to remind everybody that we are on Facebook Live, and this is our second showing.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I was looking a while ago, and we've got over 1,000 viewers.
Wow,
Whoa.
that's amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then last week what happened is everybody went back after the show and was watching it. Yeah. And I know we made a lot of mistakes last week, and I'm sure we made some this week, but, you know, we're learning. But we appreciate everybody tuning in. Kevin is our cameraman. That's Jess's husband.
Yeah, he's doing an awesome job.
And he's doing an awesome job, and we wanted to remind everybody. There you go.
Quick shout out to him.
Kevin pointed out that you can subscribe. And that way they'll give you notifications when the video starts, and that way they'll automatically come up. See, we can watch ourselves.
Hey, there he is.
He looks great. He looks great.
Yeah, that's in fact how my mom sees me, you know. So she knows because she subscribed, and it does send her a little alert, and that's when she knows to do her motherly duty and tune in. Yeah.
You know, you guys are so awesome. You're tuning in. You're responding on the Facebook page. And, man, we love you. We love what we do. Man, I was inmate number 540850. I'm still on parole till 2023. I used to lay up in the 6x9 and wonder, you know, just what would happen if I was in control of the prison show. What kind of stories would I have? We really hope that what we do put on the air is helpful. We want to get the news to you guys. We want to be able to reach out to the Latino community. We want to enable you whenever you come home to be able to get some of the services that are out here. It's just, you know, it's rough being in there. But whenever you're in there, don't do things that'll keep you. Marta Glass used to say it all the time. You know, keep your head up, make some good decisions. Try and come home, man. Get some education. We know it's hot. Right now, go to the chapel, go to the library, go down to the education building, anywhere where there's some air conditioning. Go down and those are positive things to do anyway. So just go participate with others. I'd like to thank Holly and Jess for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, really.
That's really cool. That gave Hank a chance. He's out boogieing a little bit. He likes to go to all these live musics, and that's cool because that helps KPFT. He gets to know everybody, and that way whenever we have a backyard party or the rehab,
he brings people in.
You know, that's pretty cool. But we miss Holly. And,
I miss being here.
And Hank and I was talking earlier, you know, one thing whenever you're doing time and you're in a penitentiary full of men, it's really hard not to hear a female laugh. Yeah. So
even this one,
even this my cackle, my cackle.
I tell you what, I've been in the hallway before and heard a female laugh. In the whole hallway, there'll be 20 or 30 men in the hallway, and because you hear a female laugh, everything goes dead silent.
Oh man, man, that's
a laugh that can stop you in your tracks.
Wow, that's amazing.
Powerful.
Because it's not a normal sound in the men's penitentiary.
That's true. That's true.
So, So we appreciate you coming on. I know all the guys love it. So what exactly you work with in PBS, right? That's where you guys knew each other?
Yeah, that's how we met.
That's
We
where
used
we
to
found
work for
each other.
PBS.
We realized we belonged in the same tribe.
That's right.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, we've been causing trouble ever since.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, now it's weird because you get a job and you're gone most of the time, and now
Yeah.
Jess is around. So.
It's a circle of life here, Dave. It's a circle of life. I come out, and that's how it was at Channel 8 too. I was there for a couple of years,
And then you left
you
me.
came on, and then I left, and
You're always leaving me.
Okay. So we got about a minute left, but guys, you guys stay tuned. In the next coming up weeks, we're going to get some more news about the air conditioning business going on and the lawsuits. We're going to try and get as much stories as you can to you. Now, you know that Ken Paxton is going to appeal that, try and tie it back up into court. I'm going to reach out to Wallace Nader. So, Wallace, if you're listening, you're fixing to get an email and some phone calls.
And also, if you need to get a hold of Danny Sneed, he was one of our guests tonight. He works a lot with vets. Go ahead and write Dave Collingsworth.
Send it to me, and I'll make sure I get it to him.
He looks like a wealth of information.
Well, I was telling Greg, who's Danny's partner, that there's a lot of the veterans that are incarcerated, and whenever they get out, it's a shame because I see a lot of them that are homeless.
Yeah, he said 1 out of 7.
So
on the street.
Let's fix that problem.
That's terrible.
You guys reach out to us. Let's get something going on, and we know some other shelters that are centered around veterans. So thank you so much.
And we're out. All right.